Alysia.
Hey, Molly.
So you are an Olympian,
Yep.
a 7-time U.S. champion, an all-around badass, and you've been called the pregnant runner because you ran with your daughter Linnea, when you were 8 months pregnant at U.S. Nationals.
Yep.
And then you ran again with this baby number 2, U.S. Nationals again.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So what was that like, running with your daughter?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so many things that were awesome about running with my daughter, but I think one of the greatest things was that I got to empower women globally, not just women, but I also got to give men the idea of what an empowered woman looks like, and therefore hopefully empower the women in their lives. And we are in a place right now, especially in our political climate, where women are taking back their power, and they're putting it in places that are not only empowering themselves, but are empowering other people, not just women. I didn't know I was having a baby girl, Linnea, and recognize what I'd just been able to, like the platform I'd been able to give women, and recognize hopefully years down the line, I've been able to open up a ton of doors for her. It was really actually an emotional experience, not just having her, but also knowing that it was global and bringing all these women together, having a baby girl. So yeah. Pretty awesome.
What kind of has gone through from day 1 positive pregnancy test up until right now, 38 weeks? You've knocking on the door.
It's pretty interesting because the first, of course, pregnancy, I hadn't gone all the way through a labor before. Going into my appointment with my midwife, the advice was like, I didn't know. So I was like, what can I do? You know, everything you were doing beforehand. I'm like, well, I'm like a hardcore runner. Like I feel great and I want to keep running. She's like, keep doing that. I lift weights. Keep doing that. Obviously, you're listen to your body, respect it, modify when you need to. And that's the greatest advice. Eat well, drink tons of water, and get lots of rest. And I was like, so be a professional athlete. Like that's what it felt like. Every piece of advice was like, oh, this is how you basically execute to perform your best as an athlete. So it makes sense to me. So I really started thinking about it. Okay, this is about to be the greatest athletic event that I've ever been a part of. So I thought about things, okay, the same way, okay, I'm training for the Olympics. What would I do? Like I want the stamina, I want my cardiovascular system to be, firing on all cylinders. And I had a goal, just like I do in training. I had a goal to give myself that full experience to let all the sensations be the sensations. I was fine with that. And that's the same way I go about my training. Like when I'm training for a specific race, I want my body to be able to respond the way that it needs to respond without me trying to say, no, I don't really want this to happen right now. Or like, no, just like, okay, this is the change we're making. The next part that came with it was the intervals and how I thought about intervals. I thought about, intervals and strength, they kind of went together. I thought about intervals. I was like, okay, I know nothing about contractions of first pregnancy, but I do know they are like intervals. They come in waves and then they stop and they allow you to rest, but then they start to get closer together. So I thought about all of my milestones like that. I thought about running a mile and being like, when it started to get a little bit heavier and a little bit, less comfortable, I would be like, okay, well, instead, I'm not going to like push myself to break. I'm going to just run for a minute, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to give myself a minute rest. And then I'm going to get to that next point right there. I'm not going to stop until I get to that point for a minute, and started thinking about it labor like that. And then with strength, I thought about what positions would I get in?
all the positions you could possibly get
exactly.
into.
So I started incorporating a different sort of strength training, like for training for on the track. I would do like, snatches and power lifts and things like that. And I'm like, okay, I don't really quite need that. So I do like squat holds instead. And
did those come in handy?
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They totally came in handy. And I do back strengthening things to counter my belly. And it was an amazing experience. I have no idea if I was super extra hardcore. Yes, I probably was. So it's nutrition for me, mental aspect. Well, actually, mental aspect should probably be first. Mental aspect, nutrition, strength, and intervals go together. And so then, of course, thinking of all the other things that go along in my body is, where you come in.
Preparing for labor. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about is that there's so much that you can control. Yet there's a structure in your body. Yeah. Your uterine muscle is going to be pretty much the star of the show, squeezing the human out. You're just kind of along for the ride at that point, just getting through that work that your body is doing. What is it like to be able to see your body preparing in that way that you have no control over?
There's enough stuff I can control because we want that, and I think people want to have a period of control, especially someone with my personality. But to just know there's a point where I can do so much, and then I can just be like, you do the work, you do what you're supposed to be doing, and trust that.
And so what is it like to kind of have access to something that lets you just check in on your body at a different level?
Well, being able to look at the Bloomlife app and see, okay, my body is definitely feeling a little bit more level of stress right now with everything that's going on, and being able to tell, okay, there are some things that are happening, especially when it comes to Braxton Hicks, and this is lasting a little bit longer, that have me check in to see, okay, how am I doing with all of my goals? Like, how am I doing on the nutrition front? How am I doing on the water front? And more importantly, it's really important for my partner. It's really important for my husband, Lewis. Because one, I am such a go-getter, and it's being that type of person also makes it really difficult for you to say when you need to just like, everybody give me a break. Yeah. And being a mommy to a 3-year-old, it's hard to say, honey, mama needs a break, but I'm not telling it to her. You got to say it to Papa to be like, Papa, mama needs a break.
I know.
Bloomlife helps in that way, where it just makes, it's like the evidence is right here. Here's the science as to like, I'm not complaining. I think that's the other thing. You don't want to, it's the athlete part where you're like, you want to be coachable. Your coach gives you a workout. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you about 50% of this because I can't go for this amount of time of it. Obviously reaching this point of my pregnancy, I've been able to be like, all right, I'm going to lay down now. But it is very important to have that evidence right in front of you to be like, yeah, I am feeling this. I'm not making up excuses. Like, this is real life for me, and I really need this time, especially so that I can be at my very best when it is time for me to go into labor and deliver. I want to be well rested, and I'm not going to be able to do that if I can't do exactly what I've been trying to do, prepare myself in a way that allows for me to enjoy this experience.
What advice would you really turn around and provide to your friends when they're kind of going through this for the first time? What's the best piece of advice you've gotten?
I think I say it over and over again, but it really is trust your body. I do understand some people are really trying to understand their bodies, but then my other piece of advice is get to know your body. So like, if you haven't ever had to experience, the strength of your body in any way before, get to know it. Don't just let somebody else tell you how your body reacts to things, because we're all different. So I'm just like, get to know your body and then trust your body. Yeah. And every pregnancy is different. So and the other thing is, it's stop comparing yourself to someone else. I think everyone would enjoy their experience so much better if they could really just appreciate where they are at today, and then the journey that they're on.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Mom.
Yes.